Have you ever been scrolling through YouTube, come across one of my videos and thought, why not? You've clicked on it and up popped me. You look and think, okay, he's devilishly handsome. Got a strange bag hanging from his shelf and books we all know he's never going to read. But what does he know about manifestation? How can I trust him to get my successes? Well, in this video, I'm about to give you some of my favorite manifestation successes and the process I used to get them. Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Matthew. I'm a manifestation coach who has helped many people manifest amazing things in their lives, as well as manifesting amazing things in my own. So if you are in need of my help in creating your perfect life, check down below. The links to take you to my website are there, and you'll see the coaching solutions I offer to help with just that. If you could drop me a like and a comment on this video, just to let me know that you like this kind of content going forward, and subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon, so that way you won't miss one of those videos. I'm also doing a free giveaway as part of hitting 6,000 subscribers. So the comment that's down below that is my favorite comment will receive a free 30-minute call. Now the comment can be anything, a joke, a compliment, an interesting fact, just something that you want to comment to get into the giveaway. And my favorite one will be selected and then put up on the community tab for you guys to see who it was. And then we'll go from there. So comment as many things as you want down below. My favorite one will be picked. With that out of the way, I really look forward to working with you all. Now let's get into this video. So my first manifestation success story that I'm going to be talking about is the one that I'm pretty much known for in the YouTube space. And that is for manifesting Katie back. Now for any of you who have been on this channel for really any length of time, you will know that I was in a very bad position, like mentally. I was having a lot of doubts, a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of she's going to break up with me, we're not compatible, all of these awful things. And that led to Katie leaving me. But as you know, my success story ends with us actually getting back together. Now, how did I do it? So when it came to Katie, from the second I left this house, I did not reach out, I did not contact, I did not speak to any of her friends or family. I cut all complete contact. I stayed at mine for a bit, I stayed at my friends for a bit, and I kind of just did things that I found fun. When I was at my mate's house, we just played some games, ordered some food, just relaxed and chilled. When I was at mine, again, just kind of played games on my phone and just did things that I enjoyed. Now, while I was doing all of these things to kind of make me happy and feel good, I was also using a wide array of techniques. I did scripting sort of just before getting ready for bed, visualization as I was falling asleep and as I was waking up, and affirmations pretty much all throughout the day. I was pretty vigilant with my thoughts. It was very rare a negative thought came in, and if a negative thought did come in, I used the I remember when technique to kind of work with it to get me to where I wanted to be. So if I had a negative thought about us breaking up or the breakup itself, I would literally say to myself, I remember when I was broken up with Katie, but now we are in the most passionate, loving, committed relationship. And this kind of allowed my mind to dwell on the negatives, but in a way that benefited me. For those of you who watched my most recent success story, I did a very similar thing with one of my clients to get her mind working with her as opposed to fighting her. So I used the I remember when technique to deal with negative thoughts. I scripted about how amazing our life was, and I visualized me coming back to the house and then her opening the door, and it was like this big embrace and everything, and that was my visualization scene to manifest her back. And I basically persisted in that and did absolutely everything I could to make sure that I was staying true to my end result. Thought come up about Katie, either I remember when to remove the negative aspect or straight to the positive of whatever it is that I was, obviously in this case, reconciliation. And then there was one key thing that I did just before getting Katie back, literally the day before, and this was release all attachment. And I basically said to myself, if I get her back, great. If I don't, it is what it is. I'm going to be fine. Now, for those of you who are members to the members only YouTube subscription, you'll see there's actually a video that basically goes into more detail about how I got to this point of if it happens, great. If it doesn't, it is what it is. And I think that was very important. But having that mindset shift of if it happens, great. If it doesn't, so what? This allowed me to release all attachment because I realized that with or without, I knew my life would be fine. And because of that, I then released the attachment and literally the day after the reconciliation. The second success story is manifesting a job. Now, this one is actually a really big success story for me. This one really, really helped me just really understand my power. Like, I already knew it, but this job just kind of made such a difference for me. Now, the reason why it did was because my entire life I had been struggling for jobs. Not struggling to get them, but it was never enough pay. It was never something that I enjoyed. It was just never enough. And it led me to absolutely hate working for someone else. It's one of the reasons that I created a piercing business before, because I'm qualified in piercing, this YouTube channel as well. And I've always been very business driven because I hate working for someone else because of my previous experiences. Now, I was jobless at the time. Obviously, I needed a job. My debts were absolutely racking up. I was in such a bad place. Everything about my life was showing no money, no abundance, not the right qualifications. Absolutely nothing was working for me. So the reason why I like this success story so much is because it really does show you against all odds, you can get the result that you want. So what did I do? I got a rough idea of what I wanted. I knew I wanted a lot more money than I'd ever earned. At the time, the most I'd ever earned was $22,000 a year. And the reason it was even that high was because of the increase that you receive by working with the company for an X amount of time. I'd been there for 3 years, so it'd gone up a lot more. And I knew that I needed more than that to pay my bills and to claw myself out of debt. So I decided I want $26K a year. And at the time, that was huge for me. That was an extra $4,000 a year jump, and it was massive. So I decided I wanted $24,000 a year, and I wanted it to be at least some working from home. I didn't mind going into the office because I wanted some interaction with people, but I wanted some of it working from home. Well, I kind of persist in that, saying I'm working a job that does this, I'm working a job that does this. Well, I might as well give you my actual affirmations. So I basically persisted in saying, I'm so happy and grateful to be working a job that pays me £26,000 a year that allows me to work from home. And I basically just repeated stuff like that. I then go on Indeed, which in the UK, I don't know if it's worldwide, but at least in the UK, is a job hunting app. And the first job I saw, or the first one that stood out to me, shall I say, was working for a science institute in their recruitment team for 26,000, I think it was 26,200 a year, sorry. That was exactly what I'd wanted. I checked the description and it was 3 days working from home, 2 days working in the office. It was basically perfect. And I decided that this was going to be my job. So I persisted in saying I work for, I'm not going to put their name here just for obviously privacy reasons, but I persisted in I work for insert company's name for £26,000 a month, a year. I keep saying a month, a year. I work for £26,000 a year, yada, yada, yada. And I kept saying that over and over and over again. I'm worthy of earning £26,000 a year. Because again, like I said, at the time this was huge for me. So I was working on my self-concept to say that this is actually something that is quite easy for me to obtain. I'm worthy of earning 26k a year. I do work for this company, earning 26k a year. Everything goes smoothly. Now, for those of you who have watched my success story video, you'll see that I actually got declined by them twice. I went for the interview. Everything seemed like it was going really well, but I clearly hadn't impressed my mind with it enough, so they ended up declining me. So I then persist, no, I work for this company. I was not taking no for an answer. I used affirmations only at this point. I do work for this company, like I work for this company earning this amount, and I just kept telling myself this over and over and over again. About 4 days later, or give or take, I got an email basically saying, yeah, there might be another opportunity within our company, have another interview. I did another interview, and I didn't get the job again. But again, I was not taking no for an answer. So I persisted even further, despite the fact that everything in the 3D was saying, no, you're broke, you're racking up your debts, they're saying no, everything was saying no. But I refused to take that for an answer. So I continued persisting. And in the end, the recruitment team's manager called me to say, we have another opportunity within our team. You'll be working directly under me. Let's have an interview. Let's see how it goes. Had the interview with her a couple of days later. Immediately, literally on the dot, she offered me the job and I started. It was a bit of a late start because there was an issue with their system, but not long after I started. So within basically a month, I'd been rejected 3 times, but twice, and then got it on the 3rd time. Continued persisting, would not take no for an answer. I didn't let the debts get to me. I didn't get the doubts of my own mind basically saying, can you earn this much, get to me. Absolutely nothing got to me whatsoever. Continued persisting, got the job got offered the job within a month, but I didn't start for another 2 weeks after I got offered it, I think, and got the 26k that I was working on, and then my debts just started to dwindle away. So that's such a big success story for me because it really shows how much persistence and just ignoring
any inner doubt, because inner doubt is coming through you. The same mind that doubts is the same mind that you can choose to affirm, you can choose to visualize or script with. So I just said, why would I let my mind's power go to all of these doubts when I can use that same power to say, this is mine, I've got it. And I did not apply for another job either. I refused to apply for anything else because I knew that that job was mine and I was not taking no for an answer. So that's my second big success story. The third success story is receiving a big client that paid a huge amount initially. So this actually happened a couple of months ago, and this is one that goes to prove that even the most proficient manifestation people, or people that are proficient in it, will still have their moments when they falter. So for those of you who don't know, I am a full-time YouTuber / coach. I went full-time in December, and January I really felt the pressures. I won't lie to you, I was investing more into the 3D than I should have been, and I'd forgotten my manifestation techniques more than I should have done, so to speak. And even though it was going fine, I wasn't going as well because I knew that I was over-investing into, I need these clients to pay my bills. What if I don't pay my bills? I was kind of like preparing for the worst, which, as you know, if you've watched my videos, the worst thing that you can do. So I even make mistakes myself in my own process. So if you're making mistakes right now, take this as a sign that it is okay and things can turn around. But it was coming to the end of January, and I was literally had like a few days until I needed to pay my bills. And I was like, right, I am literally like 400 quid down. If I don't pay this, I'm going to have to rely on Katie for £400, which I hate. For any of you that know me, I don't like being a failure, and I don't like relying on other people. So the idea of asking my partner to help me, it made me feel sick. So I basically really drilled in my affirmations. I was like, no, from now, I am only accepting that I earned the amount that I needed to pay my bills. And I persisted in this for, I think, 2 days or so. And then I had a huge client who basically said, look, I want to work with you for the next 2 weeks, every single day doing a video call. So I sent him over the details, sent him all over in, obviously in dollars, because they work in dollars. And when that PayPal came through, it was like £414. It was exactly the amount that I needed to pay my bills without relying on help whatsoever. And that was a big thing for me. That was like, not only did it obviously, again, prove everything, and it's just that kind of reinforcement to say, make sure you stay on your affirmations, but it just went to prove to me personally how much of a difference it does make to simply just affirm when you're doing the washing up or when you're doing the washing. Because that's all I was doing. When I wasn't coaching and doing all of my emails and editing and stuff, I'd go and do some housework. I've received enough money to pay all of my bills. I received a large sum of money. I give thanks to Infinite Supply that I've received a large sum of money. And those were some affirmations that I really just dwelled in. And 2 days after I started this, received that big client that paid me the amount that I needed to pay all of my bills. And then from there, I really took that and I was like, we're not dropping off on our affirmations. We are persisting, we are persisting, we are persisting. And I started doing it with the growth of my channel, with clients coming in, yada, yada, yada. And for any of you that may have noticed, my last 2 videos have absolutely exploded. My subscriber count has been flying up. Obviously, you guys won't see my client base, but trust me, my client base is huge. I have 7 calls tomorrow alone. I checked because I've got my my diary here. I got 7 calls just tomorrow. So yeah, everything. I've been persisting with my affirmation, saying things like, what have I been saying? I'm so grateful to have so many new and returning coaching clients graciously paying for me for my services. I have this number in my head where I want to reach 35,000 subscribers. So as of like a couple of weeks ago, or like earlier on in the month, or earlier on in February, started saying to myself, I'm so grateful to have received 35,000 subscribers. And obviously now my subscriber count is flying up. I received 1,000 subscribers just within this week alone, which is huge. And yeah, so I've been persisting in that, persisting in things like all of my videos go viral in the most amazing way. And you guys can see it. You guys just go look into my videography. Is that what it's called? Videography? If you guys go literally just look into my videography, you will see that the last few videos, blown up. Channel, blown up. If you could see my PayPal, blown up. Just by simply persisting in these affirmations and doing them when I've been doing washing up and washing and stuff. Now, for those of you who think that you need to, like, do them all day, every day. Obviously, yes, if you're having a lot of opposing thoughts, you will need to do them a lot more. But if you are able to just relax and just affirm when you have the time to, you will find that you'll start getting shifts a lot easier than when you're like attached, like, no, I need to affirm all day, every day, blah, 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 blah. because that's clearly showing that level of attachment and clearly showing that lack of having. If you can relax and just affirm when you get the chance, you will see such huge improvements. And this client, the one that paid me loads, and then now the growth of my channel and the clients coming in, really just showed that to me personally, and just reinforce it to me, obviously stuff I already know, but just kind of, you know, feedback, positive feedback, just how easy it can be. If you just relax and just know that it's done and just affirm through it, it will happen. So those are 3 big successes of mine, and I'm just going to give you a couple of little ones, just some fun, goofy ones now. The first little success story was receiving a game for Christmas. Now, for those of you who don't know, and you're probably going to laugh at me here, I am still quite an avid Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh fan. I grew up with it, and it's kind of just stayed with me since I was a kid. And for Christmas last year, so not the one that's just gone, but the one before, I wanted to get the new Pokemon game for my birthday, but I didn't bother getting it, and I couldn't be bothered because I just don't really have the time to play it. But I said to myself, like, wouldn't it be nice to have it? And then I started thinking about myself playing it and stuff like that. And the way that it ended up working out was my mum said, what do you want for Christmas? Which my mum has bought me things in the past, but nothing has ever been, like, huge because obviously she's got my sisters and everything to look after. And I've always told her I don't want anything, yada, yada, yada. So prior to that year, my mum and I had never really bought each other too much for Christmas and birthdays. And if they were, it was mainly just smaller things that weren't too expensive. And she was like, what do you want for your birthday? And, what do you want for Christmas? And I was like, oh, you know, Pokemon cards, because I collect them as well in the little book. I was like, yeah, just like a pack or 2 of those, because it was only like £8 and I didn't feel so bad. And she was just like, oh, Pokemon, I thought we were out at this. And I was just like laughing about it, obviously. She's never going to like judge me for anything I do, I don't think. And I was just like, nah, you know, I grew up with it, blah, blah, blah. So it's just kind of something that I just like to collect. And then she was just like, oh, okay, well, you know, I can do it. And I was like, you should be thankful that I'm not asking you for the new Pokemon game. Just as a joke. I wasn't pushing the 3D and, like, trying to convince her. I was just, you know, going along with the joke of, like, oh, yeah, Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. And she was just like, well, how much is it? And I was like, oh, don't worry about it, Mum. I was only, like, taking the piss. And then she ended up finding it on Amazon. And she said, is it this one? And I was just like, no. It was that one. But I kept telling her no because I didn't want her to spend it. And she was just like, look. I want to get you something, and your granddad wants to also get you something, so we could go halves on it if you're that concerned about the money. And at this point, they were obviously like pushing quite a lot to get it for me, and I was just like, well, why not? You know, if they want to do it, and if it's something she wants to do, I made it as a joke. I wasn't pushing the 3D to be like, oh, here, Mum, by the way, I want this. It was just a joke. So I was like, why not? Sure, go ahead. So they ended up buying it for me, and I ended up getting the game from my mum, who has never bought me a gift that expensive in quite a while, due to obviously me not wanting stuff and then her having my sisters. And it was the game that I'd wanted, that I had imagined myself playing, came in a way that didn't cost me anything, and it came from someone that I wouldn't have expected to buy me such a thing. So it was one of those, it's only a small success story, but for me, it kind of, you know, it's a nice success story, it's wholesome, so to speak. The second success story is going on a birthday trip. Now, there is a YouTube short about it in my sort of videography, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but it basically was just that I wanted to take Katie to a spa hotel. I visualized ourselves doing this kind of stuff and basically just did all of my techniques to, you know, impress my subconscious mind that I was there. In the end, I found one that was near to her mum, so we could give the kids to her mum for the night so that we could obviously go away and have it without the kids. It was good pricing as well. It was really good quality, nearby, all of that kind of stuff. And it had everything that we wanted. Spa, gym, restaurant, 3-course meal, all of that lot. And all of this just came through me visualizing us on this. Me visualizing myself in the spa of Katie and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that ended up coming quite easily. All I had to do was literally, I felt inspired to look online and found it pretty quickly. And it was basically perfect. And I pretty much booked it there and then. And the third and final mini success story is being in my band. Now, this one I didn't really consciously manifest, but I like this success story a lot because it shows how perfect manifestation really is. So when my first person broke up with me, like many, many years ago now, and I first got into like manifestation, I really wanted to be in a band. I decided that, right, I'm single now, I'm going to do everything that I've always wanted to do. So I started doing music, I started writing books, I started just doing all of the kind of shit that I just really wanted to do my entire life, but it always held myself back because I was dating someone and it would have just made things difficult. By the way, word of advice, never put yourself aside for someone else, ever. That was the worst thing that I could have possibly done, and she just fucking left me anyway. So never put yourself aside for someone else. Always do what you want to do and that makes you happy. But yeah, so I wanted to be in a band. I imagine myself on, I didn't really consciously do this, it was more just for the sake of enjoyment. I just pictured myself on a stage doing music in front of like a crowd and stuff, just for the sake of like, this could be a potential for me now that I don't have a person. This could be what I, you know, can do. So it was more, it wasn't conscious manifestation, but it was more just for the fun of it, because it was fun, but it was obviously consciously manifesting it. I then sign up for like basically Tinder for bands. Essentially, it's called not Bands in Town, it's called Band Mix. And it's basically where you find other band members looking for, you know, this band needs a lead vocalist, this band might need a drummer. If you're a drummer, you go to there, and that kind of thing. I found one, and I didn't really bother to look very much because you needed to pay for it. And at the time I was like, I'm not really that invested in joining someone else. Like, I like the idea of it, but I'm not going to pay. I just, whatever. But there was a free service where you could get spotted by some, I don't know how it works. I can't fully remember. But in the end, I actually got messaged by one of the people. And he messaged me while I was on my way to my mum's, because I stayed at my mum's for a couple of months during this period. And I was like, yeah, I'll send you a demo. I'm back home in a couple of weeks. I'll send you a demo of what I can do, and then we can go from there. Well, that couple of weeks literally turned into like 3 or 4 months of living with my mum instead. There's no reason for me to go back to Reading. My job was entirely online. My girlfriend had just like left, so what was the point of me going home? Well, literally the day after, maybe 2 days after I got back, when I finally decided to go home, I got a message from the band people saying, by the way, we never received a demo from you. Are you still interested? And it was literally, it was supposed to be 2 weeks later that I gave them the demo. But I didn't go back home. I didn't tell them that I was staying any longer. I literally basically went radio silent. And it was 2 days after I got home that they said to me, you know, we didn't hear from you. Have you got that demo? I sent them the demo. They said they loved it. We then ended up meeting up, and now we're obviously in a band working on some music. But it blows my mind that they could have messaged at any time. And it wasn't until I'd literally got home 2 days later. Any time within 4 months. They were supposed to hear from me after 2 weeks. And they didn't even send me a chase up when the 2 weeks had hit. They just left it. But 2 days after, 4 months later, they then go, by the way, we didn't hear from you. Are you still interested? And then everything has worked, and I'm in the band now, still today. And that one just blows my mind. I know it's a small one, and it's not really a proper conscious manifestation, but I was doing the visualizations and stuff, so I can attribute it to that. But it's more just the spookiness of how it's perfect. If you just dwell in the end result, whether you are across the country like I was, you will come back and get to where you want to be. Whether you're blocked on everything, they will either unblock you, or you'll bump into each other, or there's some kind of way of it working. It's just, it blows my mind. It still does to this day how some things work. Just like the client that paid me the £400 for 14 days worth of video call sessions. I needed 400, and it was perfect. He could have said 1 week. He could have said, can we just do a couple of sessions once every other day for the next 2 weeks? But no, he said every day, 2 weeks, boom, the exact amount of money that I need. It blows my mind. It really does. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know obviously this video isn't really for like your knowledge and to help you out, but it was just a request for the 6,000 or the 5,000 subscribers, but we hit 6,000. I look forward to hearing all of your comments and seeing which one's going to be my favorite. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this far if you have, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.